Daily Broadside, day 520. Why is it so difficult to bowl a 300? Now, granted, it's difficult for moi to bowl a 300 because I've probably got in my life 7 or 8 cumulative hours of bowling experience. So I'm not going to be bowling a 300 anytime soon. I think I managed to bowl like a 138, 144, somewhere around in there one time, and that was just complete happenstance. But what I don't get is I looked it up, and what do professional bowlers, what do they have to bowl? It says some things say over 230, some of them you say over 200, and I'm like, well, if I accidentally bowled a 140, and let's say that was 3 strikes and a spare. I don't know what that. I don't. Bowling scores make no sense to me. No one's ever explained it to me. I just look at the screen and see a turkey or whatever, or a pig or whatever it is that pops up there. Uh, but why can these dudes not just 300, 300, 300, just bowl out 300s, or at least get really, really damn close? 200, that just seems really low comparatively speaking. Now, I'm not saying, well, why doesn't every professional golfer just hit a hole in one on every hole? That's a completely different animal. First of all, you can't drive the green on every hole. So you're only talking about the par threes where that's a legitimate, chance more times than not. Why can't you do a no-hitter? I mean, that's a completely different animal. Why can't you shoot 100% from the free throw line? Completely different animal. It just seems to me like, let's take billiards. Mr. Pocket Billiards, Willie Mosconi, one of the best pool players in the history of pool. At one time in an exhibition tournament, he set the record of hitting 526 balls in a row without missing, okay? I like in hitting pool balls or running a rack, let's just say, of pool balls to, bowling a 300. Why can somebody, I would imagine any professional pool player could just run a rack, no problem. I mean, I've run racks before, and I'm not a pro. I'm just a slightly above average pool player. When I'm in practice, and I've run a couple racks before. It's actually pretty cool, but I think to myself, if I did this all the time, this would not be very difficult to do. It is, but it's not, you know what I'm saying? And I would think that bowling would be the same way. And yet you go there and, you don't see people bowling 300s. And I don't know how often somebody on a tour, an Ernie McCracken or something, would actually bowl a 300. I don't even know how long a bowling tour is. Is that just a summer season? And they do a tournament like every 3 days, and so they're playing like let's say they do 20 tournaments in a summer. Are they bowling like 5 300s or one? Or, how rare is it? Please someone chime in and let me know what the difficulty level is with doing this. It doesn't make any sense. This past weekend, I delved into watching a bunch of old soap reruns, or, the television show. I watched like the first and part of the second season of Soap from the late 70s. I always like that show. It's got some great characters. It's crazy to think some of the jokes and stuff they say on that show. You're like, God, it's like makes Archie Bunker kind of blush. But I have a habit of when I watch movies and I watch TV, especially older stuff, I go through Wikipedia and I click on all the cast members, and I try to figure out who's dead and how they died. I don't know why I'm fascinated with who's still dead, who's still alive, and how the person who's dead died. And so I pulled it up, and like literally I went through probably 35, 40 people. And with the exception of about 3 or 4 who had like heart attack, Parkinson's, and then like Alzheimer's, every one of them was cancer. I've never seen so much cancer death in all my life. It was just cancer. And it was a lot of colorectal cancer, just everything you can think of, all the cancers, right? No skin cancer, but lung, and why isn't there a heart cancer? But anyway, and is heart disease, is that technically, it's not cancer because why can't you get heart cancer? I don't know why I've ever thought about that. Maybe it is a thing. It's just called something. I was interrupted again by a phone number. I'm going to have to like put this thing on silent or just do something. God bless these damn people. It's probably somebody wanting to talk to me about my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, or my car maintenance thing that I didn't renew, or some warranty that's about to expire that I never had in the first place. But anyway, one of the people I looked up on the soap character list was, and I might be pronouncing his name right, Sorrel Book, the guy that played Boss Hogg, right? A couple things I learned about Mr. Sorrel Book. Sorrel, it's probably Sorrel. I would imagine the way it's spelled, it's probably Sorrel. Sorrel Book. Anyway, Boss Hogg. He apparently was 5'6", 185. and he fattened himself up with padding in that Dukes of Hazzard show. So he wasn't actually as bulbous and fat looking as he is in real life, which I thought was interesting. But here's the interesting part. Guess how many languages Sorrel Book spoke fluently? I'll wait. Did you say 3? Pfft, surely you jest. I'll give you another moment. Is that enough? 12. 12 freaking languages. And one of them, I think, was Latin. I didn't know you could speak that. Anyway, I mean, it's everything. Like, and then he has like another 6 or 8 that he kind of dabbled in. And one of them was like Mandarin. I mean, it's crazy. And I think he was fluent in Russian was one of them, which they say is like really one of the hardest languages to learn, along with this bastardization of English that we speak in this country. But I got to tell you, I can speak Spanish fairly fluently. And that's very difficult to learn a language. Language, there's a lot of cognates with, English and Spanish. And once you learn a love language, if you know Spanish, you can roll right into Italian, Portuguese, French. The cognates are kind of the same. You have I can read some French and Italian if it's just basic, like 3rd grade reading books kind of thing. But, obviously I can't dissect a French medical exam book, but to go from, Korean to Russian to English to Latin, I was very impressed. I was very impressed by Sorrel Book's ability to do all that. That has got to be an insanely compartmentalized job. I mean, he's basically a damn fat, short version of C-3PO. C-3PO is Boss Hog. There we go. That's where we're going with this. That's what we're putting together. C-3PO is a gold Boss Hog. Y'all have a great evening. Hey, Giddy.